Welcome to another episode of the Horrorbox. I'm your superstitious host, Dom, and in this episode, we're going to look at the 1975 horror comedy film, written by David DuBos and directed by Brian Trenchard-Smith. This is the second sequel to the Irish tale-inspired film, Leprechaun 3. A normal night in Las Vegas. All the lights are flashing brightly until a man with one hand, one eye, and one leg walks into a pawn shop with a statue of a hideous-looking leprechaun. The statue wears a medallion around its neck. The careless pawn shop owner takes it off, setting the leprechaun free. Driving into town is a young man named Scott off to school. Along the way, he meets a sarcastic but friendly girl named Tammy. After trying gambling, Scott loses everything, but he goes to the pawn shop. There, Scott finds the dead owner and one of Leprechaun's gold coins that grants him a wish to its finder. Scott wishes for a winning streak, but what he doesn't know is that the casino is run by a crooked man who hates to lose. The leprechaun shows up to claim his coin, but bites Scott, and in the process, some of the leprechaun's green blood spills into Scott's wound. So before long, Scott transforms into a tall leprechaun. The leprechaun kills and mauls everyone in his path for his measly coin, and Scott must choose whether to destroy the pot of gold as well as the leprechaun, or keep it and remain a leprechaun himself. So let's find out what's at the end of the rainbow and discover Leprechaun 3. Screenwriter David DuBos received a significant career opportunity when Blue Rider Productions optioned a spec script he had written. This led to an invitation to pitch ideas for what would become Leprechaun 3, the third installment in the growing horror franchise. Interestingly, DuBos had never seen either of the previous two films and was given only a single straightforward directive for this pitch: Leprechaun in Las Vegas. Despite the minimal guidance, his concept resonated strongly with the producers, and he won the assignment against 6 other competing writers. The victory came with considerable pressure, as an impending production start date required him to assemble a complete script in a remarkably short time. Australian director Brian Trenchard-Smith, known for his work on Night of the Demons 2, was brought on board to helm the project. At the time, Trimark Pictures reportedly considered making this installment the final chapter in the Leprechaun series, viewing it as a potential conclusion to the franchise. The production itself was executed with breakneck efficiency, shooting over the course of just 14 days. While the film's premise is centered on Las Vegas, the vast majority of filming took place in Los Angeles, California, with a single day of actual shooting on location occurring in Las Vegas, Nevada. So just that one day that they got to kind of guerrilla style go around shooting. Leprechaun 3 was released direct to video on June 27th, 1995 through Vidmark Entertainment. Despite, or perhaps because of, its modest origins and rapid production schedule, the film exceeded all commercial expectations and went on to become the highest-selling independent direct-to-video release of 1995, demonstrating the enduring appeal of the franchise titular monster and proving that the series still had significant life left in it. But enough of all that. Let's actually get into the story.
Lovely golden palaces, completely full of riches. I'll rip them off and rob them blind, those dirty sons of bitches. Look out, Vegas. I'm taking over! You want to try your luck? What happened? He bit me. 2 leprechauns is one too many. A lucky sign. The gold inside will soon be mine.
see you on the flip side.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
In the bustling chaos of Las Vegas, a mysterious figure missing several body parts enters the pawn shop and sells a peculiar statue of a leprechaun to the shop's owner, Gupta, played by Marcelo Tubert. The statue wears a medallion around its neck, which Gupta ignores a warning and removes. He examines a pot of gold found alongside the statue. The leprechaun, continued to be played by the great Warwick Davis, whose name is Lubden, suddenly springs to life and attacks him. Catching sight of the discarded medallion, Lubden abruptly flees into the back of the shop with his pot of gold, inadvertently dropping a single coin in his haste. Gupta stumbles over a computer program detailing Irish folklore, which explains that a leprechaun's gold grants its holder one wish and that the creature's power resides entirely within his gold. When Lubden realizes he is missing a coin, he tricks Gupta into putting away the medallion before savagely beating him to death. Meanwhile, Scott McCoy, played by John Gatton, a college student merely passing through Las Vegas, stops to help a stranded motorist named Tammy, played by Lee Armstrong, whose vehicle has broken down on the way to her job at the Lucky Shamrock Casino. Scott persuades Tammy to sneak him inside, where he proceeds to gamble away his entire tuition money. Desperate, a casino employee named Loretta, played by Caroline Williams, directs him to a nearby pawn shop, where he can sell his watch. There, Scott discovers Gupta's corpse and the single leprechaun coin. Noticing the computer program about folklore, but failing to see the coin nearby, Scott casually wishes to be back at the casino on a winning streak. Instantly is teleported away, unknowingly escaping Lubden, who senses the coin's location and attacks the shop moments later. Back at the casino, Scott finds himself on an unbelievable winning streak at the roulette table. The casino owner, Mitch, played by Michael Callan, anxious to stem further losses, closes the table and comps Scott a free hotel room. Scott encounters Tammy again, who advises him to lay low until her shift ends. Meanwhile, Loretta and the casino's resident magician, Fazio, played by John D'Amita, conspire to rob Scott of his winnings and the mysterious coin. Fazio breaks into Scott's room and successfully steals the coin before fleeing. Lubden then attacks Scott, who throws the leprechaun out a window, but not before some of Lubden's blood seeps into a wound on Scott's arm. Loretta takes possession of the coin from Fazio, only for Mitch to steal it from her. Mitch makes a sarcastic wish to have sex with Tammy, and the spell immediately takes hold. Tammy's intelligence diminishes, and she declares her love for Mitch before following him to his suite. As she begins a striptease, Loretta sneaks in and reclaims the coin, breaking the spell. A horrified Tammy rejects Mitch's advances, and he fires her on the spot. After Tammy leaves, Lubden appears and tricks Mitch into watching a seductive woman on the television. The woman crawls out of the screen and straddles Mitch in bed, pinning him down before transforming into a robot and electrocuting him to death. Scott begins manifesting bizarre leprechaun traits, a random craving for potatoes, and an uncontrollable Irish accent. Probably. He runs into a distraught Tammy, and together they discover Mitch's corpse in the suite, with Lubden lurking nearby. They escape, but Scott's transformation accelerates as he physically begins turning into a leprechaun. Determined to find answers, they head back to the pawn shop. Loretta uses the coin to wish for the body of a young, sexy woman. She gleefully shows off her new form to Fazio, who promptly steals the coin and flees. In retaliation, Lubden causes Loretta's breasts, lips, and buttocks to inflate grotesquely until she explodes. At the pawn shop, Scott and Tammy discover Lubden's pot of gold, but are attacked and forced to flee. With Scott's condition deteriorating rapidly, Tammy rushes him to a hospital. Lubden tracks them down and takes Tammy hostage in the morgue, demanding the coin's location. Scott, now fully transformed, reveals that Fazio has it. Fazio, using the coin, wishes to become the world's greatest magician. During his midnight show, Lupton traps him inside a magician's box prop. The audience, believing it to be part of the act, watches in horror as Lupton revs up a chainsaw and cuts the box in half, revealing Fazio's bisected corpse. Panic erupts as the crowd flee. Scott battles Lupton amidst the chaos and manages to set the pot of gold ablaze. As the gold burns, Lupton spontaneously combusts and is reduced to ashes, and Scott reverts to his human form. As they leave the casino, Tammy reveals she secretly kept the coin. Though briefly tempted, she decides she's content with her life and her connection with Scott. Together, they discard the coin and walk away from the chaos of Las Vegas. Now let us move on to some trivia about the film Leprechaun 3 and learn some things about behind the scenes, the production, and the acting. The production could only afford to shoot one night on location in Las Vegas. The scenes of the leprechaun walking around the strip were mostly shot without permits. During the one-night guerrilla filming in Las Vegas, bystanders would ask if they were shooting a leprechaun movie and want to be in it. The director let them be in it, telling them just to walk past Warwick and not look at him. Also, when Warwick would put his thumb out to hitch ride, cars would actually stop for him when they were just supposed to keep driving, which I think is hilarious. Like, if you saw this little leprechaun guy, would you stop for him? Like, the way he looks? I get, like, there's a whole, like, crew around him, right, and putting out his thumb or whatever, but I guess there wouldn't be, well, I don't know. There would have to be a whole crew around, right, for him to... Oh, well, I guess if this was in Vegas, so then I guess it would be more guerrilla style, so it'd probably just be the director, the camera guy, and maybe like a sound guy, trying to get everything. So yeah, I guess they could like kind of stay back and then watch this. And I don't know if I if I saw that, I think I'd freak out and like drive off faster. Like, wouldn't you? Unless like, well, because this is closer to when like the original ones were just released. The first two were, so maybe these people like already knew more about like the Leprechaun, and so they were like more excited and eager to be like, let's pick him up. Although I don't know, whatever, right? That's funny. Due to a very low budget, no sets were built for the film. All interior shots, including everything inside the Lucky Shamrock Casino, the pawn shop, and the hospital, were filmed in the old abandoned Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, California. The hotel was a hotspot for years and hosted many celebrities, entertainers, and presidents. It was demolished in 2005 and replaced with the campus of schools and a park. It's also the site of where RFK, Robert Kennedy, was assassinated. I know that kind of takes a sad turn right there, but yeah, it's kind of crazy that they got to shoot this whole film, basically the whole film, because like I said, like they only shot one night in Vegas, so basically all the interior shots were basically done in this like establishment that was renowned for years, and then just kind of got demolished after a while. Kind of sucks, but I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, they could have kept it up, but I mean, if they needed it really for like campus of schools and a park, why not, right? That's just space that they're not using. And I didn't know it was demolished, actually. And even with it being in 2005, I didn't know it was demolished at all. I thought it was still there, but that's kind of crazy. Didn't know that. Really didn't know that. John DeMita, who practiced magic as a hobby when he was a kid, seems perfectly cast for the role, but after his audition, he didn't think he would get the part. When he read for the part, he was told to bring some tricks in. He did the reading, and he was very happy. But when he had to do the magic, he got super nervous and messed up. Demeter thought he'd blown it at that point. Then he read the script again and realized he was supposed to be bad at magic and a bad magician. So I guess it worked out pretty well, like the nervousness. That kind of thing always reminds me of like in when you learn about like some of the back like casting for like Lost, like a lot of the actors tried out for a lot of other parts before they like either they put them into a different part or they made a part for them. And like Josh Holloway, I think he originally applied he tried for, I think it might have been Jack's character or someone else's character, but when he was doing the lines, he got upset and he like kicked the chair and everything, and he got mad and stuff, and so they were like, oh, so like so they were like, do you want to try out for Sawyer? And he did a really well job, a really good job like with that. So they decided to actually change because the character was supposed to be more of a slick con man, rather than this kind of like rough around the edges con man. And so that kind of he over time with his whole personality shifted that character and got it changed. And it's like things like this where it's like sometimes you're doing the right thing when you get a little nervous and you're like, shoot, I messed that up. And then like obviously it's like it's supposed to like you messing it up is like the best thing you could have done because it just makes it look like you're doing it like the best way, because it makes it I don't know, I think it makes it look like you know what you're doing. And it's that thing where like you can kind of say like, oh yeah, no, I knew I was like bad at magic for this part, like this, like I was doing it on purpose, guys. I'm just that great of an actor that I can make it look like my magic is terrible. But it's not. I'm actually a really good magician. The entire climax was shot in one night. This includes the leprechaun sawing the magician in half with a chainsaw, the audience panicking, all 60 people flooding out of the room, Scott and Tammy rushing off the stage, one of them wearing a full-scale prosthetic makeup because he too becoming a leprechaun, and the battle of magic and wits between Scott and the leprechaun that required 56 setups that day, which is a lot. Like, it sounds like they shot, it says one night, but like it sounds like they probably were shooting more. They probably started at like quote unquote the evening night and they ran through into like the early morning probably. And that's crazy because I haven't done one of those in a long time where it's like just like straight from like early evening to like early morning, and that's crazy to do, like, because you need like the night. Although you could have shot during the day to get whatever and like blacked out the but who cares? But yeah, 56 setups at that day, crazy. Like, see, this is what I'm saying. It was like people like to bash on movies, right, when they don't like them, or they like to hate on these movies. And it's like, yeah, some movies deserve it a little bit because they, maybe they failed at the script, or they failed with the actors, or they failed somewhere along the way, or it's just like it's not right or something. But you have to at least give most of these people credit. They got people together to shoot a film. That's more than most people can do. They got past pre-production. They got into production. They got through post-production. They got through distribution, and at least got it out there for people to see. And you should at least applaud people for, doing this, at least getting it done, giving an end result. They're not just like saying they're going to do it. They're not just like doing the stuff all and then nothing comes of it, or you get to a certain point and you have to stop or whatever. But they did it, right? Like, yeah, maybe this isn't like an Oscar-winning picture, but like with the prosthetics and but we'll get into all this in my final thoughts. But just come on, you got to give them. I feel like you should give movies at least a chance to see them, and then judge them. I don't know, like at least not as harsh as I feel like some people will do. They'll just completely bash on things just to do it. And I feel like they're like, it gets me all the views and the clicks and everything. And it's like, yeah, I guess you could do that, but I'd rather like sit and enjoy the movie for what as much as like I like it. Yeah, there's things I can criticize, but come on, like they 56 setups a day that day. They shot all night with all that. Come on, at least give them a little bit of credit. But let's move into my final thoughts on Leprechaun 3. So I remember watching the first one as a kid. You know, obviously Jennifer Aniston from Friends, and being like, "Yeah, I remember Jennifer Aniston from Leprechaun." And it's like, okay, kid, why are you here? Why are you talking to me? Yeah, but she's in Friends now, and you guys think of her from that, but she's not. She's from Leprechaun, actually. Like, okay, but she can be from both, like. And then she's had a pretty successful career after that. But let's move on to, Warwick Davis and, giving such a great performance as the Leprechaun, solidified a sequel. And though the second one isn't as memorable as the first one, it's still a Leprechaun movie and still Warwick Davis, and he still gives a pretty good performance. It's fine. It's not a great one. It's not a bad one. It's just fine. But then I remember being a kid, and I talk a lot about how, like, back in the 90s we would record things, and then watch them later. Like, we record my mom and she and my brothers would like record pretty much everything. They would record a bunch of movies and stuff. And so a lot of times my whole memory of things are like random movies just strung together. And it's like, that's how they go, right? Like, you watch this movie and it goes into that movie and it goes into that movie. Because that's how it's supposed to go, right? Because that's how it was when I watched it. Not knowing that, like, oh, we just recorded this off of the, because it was on, like, HBO or something. Or on Sci-Fi, and so we recorded it. Another one was, because my favorite one was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Another one was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We had the first one recorded. The second one we had the actual like VHS. We had that one, but we had only recorded the first one. And a lot of times when you do that, when you record stuff, like we had Gremlins 2 recorded, and I never watched Gremlins, the first one, as a kid until later. So for me, the first one I watched was Gremlins 2. Kind of like this. Like, so I know I had seen at least the first one. And then I remember watching this one a lot, and then going back and watching Leprechaun 2, and that's why I don't really have that great of a memory of Leprechaun 2. Just from like watching it and then rewatching it again. But this one was the one that I watched all the time, and I'm gonna just say this is I think my favorite Leprechaun movie of all time. I think I'm just gonna say that right now. Just gonna let you guys know. I'll probably go through and rank them sometime when I get done with all of them. But this is my favorite Leprechaun. It's just ridiculous. It's so funny. It's so out there. It's such a weird, like, usually you take your monster or slasher or whatever you want to say he is, and you put them in a setting in like the sequels where it'll be like in space. uh it'll be like underwater, or maybe like in another country or something, right? Like, how did they get there? And I it's just like Las Vegas is like I think the perfect place for the Leprechaun to go. And if they were going to make a sequel, I wish, if they're going to continue the series of the Leprechaun, I wish they would go back to like do Leprechaun in Vegas again or something, because that'd be pretty funny. But yeah, just like the whole idea of like the statue with the medallion, because that's not even really explained at all, because that doesn't continue from any of the other two, because we know that the 4-leaf clover is what is supposed to be like bad juju to him or whatever, or like poison or acidic or something to him. And we see that in the first two, but then all of a sudden there's a medallion, and then he's just a statue. It's because, so here's the thing: is like what a lot of people are like will theorize is that, well, each time the leprechaun is destroyed, is it the same leprechaun? And then like, because like the leprechaun was left in the well in the first one, how did he escape if it is the same leprechaun? And then they show a whole history for him, which it's like, wait, was he in there? Or was he? And then this one was a statue. So is it the same leprechaun? Because I don't know. I don't think they'll ever like give us a definitive answer, especially with Leprechaun Returns, where like that is the sequel to the first one, so we see that that's the same leprechaun from the first one. But then like it's like, are these other two leprechauns from the second one and the third one the same leprechaun? Because they are the same actor. See, uh, uh, it makes your brain hurt, because it's like, no, I think they're all standalone leprechauns, but the it's the same. It's the different. I don't know. I don't want to think about that. But I just know that Warwick Davis. I just love that he like is like, I'm gonna put all my all of my acting chops into this. I'm gonna give you a great performance, because he still does. He still got it, and he's still amazing as the leprechaun. Like you can just see he's having fun with it. He's like in that's what I love, is that he like, it's kind of like Freddy Krueger with Robert Englund. Englund, eventually was like, hey, if I'm gonna play this, I'm gonna throw all my chops into it. I'm gonna make it ridiculous. I'm gonna make it over the top. I'm just gonna have fun with it. I'm gonna make it the greatest part of these films, and that's what Warwick Davis did with the Leprechaun. And like, I applaud him, because it's like it's so funny that like you see, oh, the Leprechaun, but like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like you can't see anyone else, and I mean they did a good job with Leprechaun Returns, not Origins. Origins is ridiculously stupid, but like okay, if they were going to make another Leprechaun and it wasn't Warwick Davis again, they would have to really sell me on like the person playing the Leprechaun, right? Like if it's just some random like person and they're just like, oh, whatever, and it's like, man, like Warwick Davis, you need to come back or something. I know he's already older, and I think his wife passed away, and he's spending more time with his kids. So we're probably never gonna get another Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun, but it would be fun to have him back. And like all the other actors in this too do a pretty okay job. I just remember that the guy playing Scott, I always thought was a little off. Um, just I feel like, I don't know if this is his first film or one of his more like earlier acting parts, but you can tell it's like, oh yeah, maybe this might be like one of his films. I think Caroline Williams does a good job. John DeMita does a really good job selling Fazio, and I guess Lee Armstrong. I know she stopped acting after this, but she does a pretty good job as Tammy. I think all the effects are pretty good for the most part. I love the part where at the end where he just saws the guy in half, and not just that, but also he when they light the pot of gold on fire, and then the leprechaun gets on fire and floats up, and it's crazy. I'm giving this probably a 3 out of 5 for, being my favorite. Just being a little bit more creative with like where they take the leprechaun. Like I said, I think Vegas is the perfect place. For what little time they had to do it and what little budget they had, it works out pretty good. It's not anything spectacular, but for based off of what's to come, there's going to be some that are really bad. So I'm just telling you that before we get to the next St. Patrick's Day. And I guess with that, I will say, what would you wish for with a piece of the leprechaun's gold? Are you even scared of the leprechaun by now? Where should the leprechaun go next? Space? That's ridiculous. We want to thank you all for listening, and if you like what you hear, please subscribe to get every new episode downloaded. If you have any personal or fictional, paranormal, supernatural, or unexplainable stories, we would love to read them on the podcast. Please send your stories, recommendations, or anything else to horrorboxpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to show more support, you can follow our socials on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, or check out our YouTube channel, all at Horrorbox Podcast on all sites. Also, you can buy me a coffee at coffee.com/horrorboxpodcast. It really helps out. Until next time, better luck next time. This is Dom, signing off from the Horrorbox.
Silly. A lucky sign. The gold inside will soon be mine. Fine suit of clothes, lad.
Well, thank you very much. Those shoes, do they come in blue suede? I really like them, man.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, man, you do that pretty good. Next time, make sure you get paid for it. Hey, man, see you on the flip side.